I am making this video kind of in response. Hey, see my Fargo Force Championship t-shirt. Anyway, I'm making this video about my this is not my walk away video. This is my I didn't need to walk away video. Um, I actually think I should start a group with I never walked away because I didn't have to, because I've always been a conservative. So anyway, this might be a long video. I don't know. Anyway, as you can see, or my shoulder here, the Navy, got a Navy flag. And that's because I was in the Navy for almost 8 years. And anyway, I've always been pro-military, which is strike number, when it comes to being a Republican versus a Democrat, it seems like more Republicans are pro-military than Democrats are. So one that's one reason why I was tended to favor the right versus the left when I was growing up. That's one reason why I'm always been a conservative, never been a Democrat or a liberal. I can't say I haven't voted for Democrats, but that was when I'm trying to remember the last election. I did not vote for Trump. He did not need my vote, and I live here in North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota. Did not need my vote, so I didn't vote for him. So my family can't, or anybody else can't accuse me of supporting somebody that's somebody who you hate, because I didn't vote for Trump. So anyway, I wrote in one of my brothers. I wrote in his name in for president. I can't remember which one, but he's a Democrat. So, and then I wrote in a different brother 4 years before that, and he's a Democrat. So can't say I haven't voted for Democrats, because I have. They might be the only two, but hey, come on. But hey, at least I voted for a Democrat. I didn't vote for any of the popular Democrats, but that's okay. But anywho, let's see, what time is it? Oh, all right. So anyway, like I said before, this is my I've never had to walk away video, because never been a Democrat. Never been a liberal, never been a Democrat, never been, someone that's touchy feely, as a lot of Democrats seem to be. I've never been a Democrat, in spite of the fact that the rest of my family was and still are Democrats. The rest of my family, everybody. I've got two nieces who are too young to really have political opinions, but my brother and his wife, who are their parents, are both Democrats. They'll vote for whoever. They'll vote for the president, in the presidential election. they will vote for whoever has the D next to their name, you know. And I think you can probably go back to the first elections they've ever voted for, you know, more than 20 years ago. They probably never voted for a Republican for president. I mean, when was the last time they've ever voted for a Republican, period? I have no idea. But it probably been a while, you know. But anyway, let's see. Yeah, I've never, you know. Yeah, uh, I think another reason why I've never voted for Democrats is because they, a lot of them in office, lie about what they, what they support and what they believe. You know, they say they care about poor people. It's like, okay, if you cared about poor people, why do you support programs and a lot of things that keep people poor? Why do you do that? You know, why don't you support things that make the economy better? You know, that would be nice if you did that, but they never do. You know, I didn't support Trump, but he's making the economy a million times better. Okay, you know, I do not need to be babysat or taken care of or living on government programs the rest of my life. I do not think I need to be doing that. Okay. Let's see. My family might not agree with me, but yet, you know, if I could get my driver's license back, then things would be a lot better. You know, I've only taken the driving part of it, driving test one time, and I had a stroke. Well, because of my stroke, um, taken the test one time, the driving test one time, and my stroke is over 2 years ago. So it's been a while, so if I take it a couple more times and I fail it for the same reason, then it's like, okay, then I will be a lot closer to saying, okay, well, I guess I'll never get my license back and give up and just accept it. But when you have a stroke, you have to fight for everything. There's so many people, your loved ones, your doctor, a lot of people do not want to let you do the things you think you can do. They don't want to give you the chance to be able to do them, you know? I mean, it's like, okay, every stroke is different, folks. Every stroke is different. Every person who has, every stroke victim is different, and every stroke recovery is different. You know, you can't put people who have had a stroke into a box and say, this is what you're going to be able to do, and this is what you can't do. You can't do that. You can't decide what they will be able to do in their recovery and what they won't. Okay? Because when you do that, you can sit back and watch them prove you wrong by doing that. You know, my, my only sister's husband's father had a stroke. He died of cancer 12 years after his stroke. By the time he died, he was to walk. He was only using a cane. That was the only thing he was using. And his doctors had told him, "Oh, you'll never be able to walk. You'll never be able to do a lot of things that he was able to do before he died." Okay? So even doctors are wrong a lot of times. Okay? Even doctors get it wrong in what they say that stroke victims can and can't do. Okay? And so, if your loved ones ever had a stroke, don't tell them what they can and can't do, you know, because they will prove you wrong. Okay? They will prove you wrong when you do that. You know, if you have a loved one has survived a stroke, let them show you what they can and can't do. You know, give them the space to do that. If they think they can drive, let them take the driving test. You know, um, the people in charge of that, you know, they will let me they'll let me take the driving test again if I pay for it. That's ridiculous. That is completely ridiculous. Why should I have to pay for it? Oh, you taking it twice. Well, taking the driving once, but that's it. You know, taking the driving test one time, behind the wheel one time, and that's it. You know, if I fail it, as soon as possible, if I take it again and as soon as possible I fail it, and I take it again a year from then and I fail it again for the same reason, then it's like, well, okay. But give them the opportunity to show you what they can and can't do. Don't dictate to them what they can and can't do. Don't say, oh, you'll never be able to work. Well, you'll never be able to take care of yourself. You can't take care of yourself. A lot of people I know would have, I was actually living in a veterans nursing home, and I would still be there if they had their way. you know. But obviously, I proved them wrong because I can live on my own. I can take care of myself. The only person I have, the only thing I have other people doing for me is I've got someone who lives in the same building as I am drive me to church, you know, and that's because I haven't taken the driving test again. I haven't had the second behind the wheel for a second time. If I did that, maybe I'd pass it this time and get my license back. But anyway, all that's beside the point. Um Doggone, this is a long video already. I'm supposed to be talking about why I've never been a Democrat. I've got several reasons why I'm not a Democrat. There are several reasons. One, as I stated before, the Democrats are like anti-military, and I was in the Navy. This flag here, you can see right here back there, is a flag I got after I got out of the Navy, and I was in almost 8 years. And so the Democrat seems like the anti-military party. The Republicans seem pro-military. That is reason number one. Reason number two is I am very pro-life, and that is, you know, and when I say I'm very pro-life, that means I am pro-life when it comes to unborn babies and convicted criminals who have committed murder. I'm pro-life in both cases. I'm against the death penalty too. Okay? Which, goes against being pro-life when it comes to unborn babies is where the GOP is usually at. There's probably quite a few people aren't pro-life who are Republicans. There's probably quite a few pro-choice Republicans, but that's okay. Well, not okay, but if that's what they believe, well, that's what they believe. Um, but there are also a lot of Republicans that are in favor of the death penalty. Not this guy. I'm against the death penalty because someone can get railroaded into being convicted of murder. They can say, oh, yeah, we've got circumstantial evidence that this guy did it. Well, what evidence is that, They would have to have several things that show this person did it. Yet there's a few things, a lot of times, the circumstantial evidence um, is not that strong. It just, well, we think this guy did. We're pretty sure this guy did it, but you know, but then, you know, but then they really didn't do it. So this person, and and the person is not only convicted of murder, but they're also executed, you know. And they have a lot of circumstantial evidence that, oh yeah, this person did it. Well, maybe they're at the wrong place at the wrong time. And a lot of times that is a circumstantial evidence that convicts someone and gets them put to death. You know, too many times it was they were at the wrong place at the wrong time, and the police didn't do their job, and the prosecutor and everybody else, you know, thought that this person did it when they didn't. You know, they didn't have absolute proof that this person did it, but this person gets put to death anyway. It's like, well, there's some cases I could tell you about that. If you thought about it, you looked at the evidence, you go, no, they didn't do it. There's no way. One of the West Memphis Three was on death row. They would have executed him if they hadn't had the hadn't used the Alford plea a couple years ago and let him go, along with his two defendants. I mean, the police eventually realized, hey, these guys didn't do it. That's why they gave him the Alford plea. You know, if they still had thought they had done it, there's no way they have offered them the Alford plea. No possible way. There is no way, if they had murdered those 3 8-year-olds in West Memphis, Arkansas, that they ever would have offered them that. They never would have offered them that. To be able to, so that they could be let go. They knew, they had to have known somebody else had done it. But small town, not used to, having murder case, trying to, not used to investigating murder cases, so they, you know, so they totally screwed up. You know, they totally screwed up and framed these three. The three that sat in prison for, let's see, was it over 20 years or no? It was about 20 years or over 20 years that they were in prison. And the Alford police said that they pled guilty, but yet, okay, they served enough time. They served enough time so that they let them go because of that. They pled guilty, but then they charged them the time served and let them go. If there was any way that the prosecution had thought they still did it, they never would have offered that, because they finally realized that they didn't do it. There's too much evidence that showed they couldn't possibly have done that. Killed those three boys. Okay? And one of them would have been executed if they had, would have been executed if they had gotten to that point. 20 years, it's like, oh man. I think in a lot of places he would have been dead if they had, they would have, he would have had his execution date set by the governor or whoever, and they would have carried it out. He would have been dead. So, yeah, and they would have been wrongly convicted too. So, anyway, that is why I am also a Republican, because you can have, I think a lot of Republicans are against the death penalty. But those that are for it, I would love to sit down and talk to them about why I'm not against it. Being pro-life would be more against it than for it. But I can see their point. I can definitely see that. Let's see, what are some other issues of why I'm a Republican, not a Democrat? Let's see. The economy for another. I have 8 years in the Navy, and I've got a college degree, and let's see what else. And I've never had a good job in my life. I've had nothing but crappy jobs all the time. And so, anyway, I graduated from college in 2011, and Barack Obama was the president at the time. And so, um, I had to take one crappy job after another, you know. And then when I was, still at the nursing home after my stroke, then Trump was elected president. And so I've never had the opportunity to be able to get a good job since then, since my stroke. I don't know. I'm on disability. I want to get my driver's license back. And hmm, and to be able to go out and try to get a good job, get a decent job for a change. That would be great to live somewhere where I can get a good job for a change, hopefully. People look at my Navy experience, my Navy time in the Navy, look at my college degree, look at all the things I've done, and hopefully I'd be able to get a good job. But when Obama was president, that was next to impossible. That was next to impossible, folks. You know. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, hopefully, I mean, I'm still, you have a stroke and you gotta fight and work as hard as you can to get the things that you think you can do. And you've got a lot of people who don't want you to do those things. They're determined to tell you, oh no, you can't do this. You can't do that. You can't, you know, you can't live on your own. You can't take care of yourself. You can't do this. You can't do that. Well, hello, because I've proved you people wrong in that area. I mean, I live on my own now. I've been here over a year now, living on my own, doing almost everything myself, doing pretty much everything myself. Um, I've been doing almost everything myself, you know. So anyone who believed that I should have stayed in the nursing home and questioned whether I could take care of myself, well, over the last year, I've proven you wrong. Okay? So, so your opinion of what you think I can and can't do shouldn't count because you were wrong on me being able to take care of myself. You're wrong on that issue. You're wrong about that. The last year I've proven you wrong. So, anyway. But, anyway. Let's see, what else? Why am I else? Let's see. Well, the economy is, Democrats, they think they care about people who are poor. But all our policies do is keep them poor. That's all that ever happens. Why some people think that they actually really do care about people, I have no idea. But if they'd really think about it, they would realize that's not true. There's a lot of people that are leaving the Democratic Party because they realize that a lot of the things the Democrats have said about themselves is total crap. Total baloney. Isn't true at all. Okay. So, but, yeah, anyway. Yeah, they would really understand why a lot of them. If people thought about it, they would understand why a lot of people are leaving the Democratic Party. They say they care about the military, but most of the times when it comes down right down to it, most Democrats vote to slash the military, to cut the military, or to the hurt people in the military the most. That's what they vote for. That's what they support. They support hurting them the most, more than anything. Well, shouldn't say more than anything else. But Democrats also support, you know, they all, when it comes to abortion and the death penalty, they're in favor of the death penalty for unborn babies, but against it for convicted criminals. You know, think about this, folks. How much sense does that make? You know, you're for the death penalty, you're in favor of killing babies before they're born, okay, but you're not against killing people who have committed murder. People who've been not only convicted, had a defense attorney, okay, they might suck, but well, okay, that's, the defense attorney might have sucked. That's another reason why you should be against the death penalty. Um, you know, but they had a trial, they had a jury of their peers, they had a judge, all of those things, okay, and yet the end result is that they would get executed, okay, but you're in favor of killing an unborn baby that's done nothing, that's committed no crime, killed nobody, and yet it's okay to kill that unborn child, but not the person that has a trial and charged with committing murder, had a trial, they could fight back, they could say, no, I didn't do this, you're against killing that person, you know, come on, Democrats, that makes no sense whatsoever. That makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, think about it. I mean, come on. Think about it. I mean, if you were against the death penalty and pro-life, against killing babies, that would make sense. That would be consistent. Okay? That's my position. But yet, is that what you guys believe? No. You believe in just the opposite. You might be, you're against the death penalty for convicted criminals. Oh, excuse me. You're against the death penalty for criminals, but you're in favor of it for unborn babies. It's like, what? Why can't you see the stupidity in that logic? Why can't you understand that? I mean, do you guys really not understand what's going on? I totally support not killing convicted criminals. I totally support that. If they screw up, you can't bring someone back from the dead who you've executed. Just like babies you've aborted. Well, guess what? You can't. If they don't survive the abortion, You know, having another kid isn't going to take their place. You know, it is going to be a totally different person if they do that. You know, totally different person if you do that. You know, but anyway, I should set up a website of. I should set up a Facebook group. You know, I never had to walk away. So that is most of the reasons why I've never had to walk away, because I've always been a conservative and not a Democrat.